Yeah, so thank you, Gavri, Olympia, Fariba, for showing your projects and showing your flows on how you guys model with ArkDesign AI. And I wanted to show you guys just a few steps on how you could, take the model that the software created and run it through some image gen just to, spruce up the presentation at the end with the PDF content that the software has already provided you. So I was just going to show you guys an image to image process that you could use directly with the screenshot from ArcDesign. And just before I run it, I was just going to briefly explain the process that I'm using. So for this, I heavily rely, I would say, on Gemini as the main model for its Nano Banana 2 capabilities. And pretty much the process is breaks down into the four inputs. You want to have an image to image prompt and then provide three different photo inputs, one being the screenshot, which, defines the geometry lock. Another one being a plan reference, just to give the model a better idea of, how the building works. And then lastly, a style reference. And the style reference is great because, you could choose a render style that your firm already prefers or has already done in the past to match renderings in the style that you already have. So while Olympia was modeling, I did take a screenshot of the U-shaped building that she was um, building already. And I was just gonna, together we're just gonna show you how I process this through Gemini. And there's these models are accessible in a lot of places, whether you want to use API, use it directly through their interface, but I'll just show you guys how this works. So here was an example that I did earlier with those three, but here for this demo, I kind of got this rendering and used that as the reference for the style prompt. There were some tweaks in the meantime, but I'll open up over here where you'll see the Gemini interface, and a lot of people use Google, and it's, pretty free. It's pretty accessible. So you'll see here that there's a prompt written down giving that order of preserving the geometry, describing the style, and providing the plan input. And the order of inputting these images is important. So you always want to have the geometry photo be first, and then any style photo or description be second. So I'm going to go ahead and drop in the geometry lock of the model that Olympia created. I don't have a floor plan of this one, but if we look at this prompt that we had used, we're just guiding it to preserve massing, roof lines, create for photorealistic architectural rendering, kind of describing foreground, background, and this is a process that you could repeat just by talking to Gemini. You could drop in a reference photo and say, "Give me an image prompt for this," um, or you could use directly the style reference. So here, with the geometry lock, we drop in this prompt, and as simply as just sending it, the way with the configuration of the wording with the geometry lock, we should get a quick generation of um, a rendering that you could put on as a cover sheet to your presentation. And the beautiful part of this, you could do a really hard rendering that's, very realistic. You could do something that's conceptual and more of a sketch style, depending on where you are with the client and where you want to show them with the design. Just off of, dropping in the prompt, dropping in the photo, we got already, a pretty one-to-one geometry photo of the model that Olympia provided for us. And based on project context, we could describe that it's in New York. You could even provide addresses, street names, and it'll move it accordingly. And it's really the more you experiment with these prompts, the more you'll see the results of changing angles, making street views, making site plans, and really putting together contents of a board that is presentable. Um, Before I wrap up, I do want to show you guys maybe just one example of what, when you repeat this process, what kind of doors it opens up or opportunities to put together a presentation board. Like interestingly enough, a couple of weeks ago, I did a full geometry board that is following that was all AI generated just based off of a model. So I'm going to just show you guys that real quick. And so now it was Woodglen, and they were doing an AIA design presentation board. And based on the entire board, we were able to, get raw images, like that were sent to me, of the model. And with these raw images, we were able to generate views one by one and organize them on an entire board that was submitted to an AIA competition. So here we go for it. And then, after enough back and forth, you get views of, a hero shot, different angles of the building. You could even, generate elevations, party diagrams, and then floor plans to really stylize the building and keep it in a more geometry hard locked way. But, rather than spending hours on each view, hours on modeling, with simple generations, you could put together a board that is presentation ready and submittable. So, just wanted to share that. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you.